I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to the Dice Tower, and this is Lookback, where I take a look at games that I've reviewed 1, 5, and 10 years ago and tell you what I think about them now, if I remember them at all. So we're going to start by taking a look at games from a year ago. So first of all, we have Boogie Beasts. Oh my word, this game is so bad. Boogie Beasts is about a bunch of animals jumping out of airplanes trying to make formations, but you're working together but not. It's just a terrible game all around. Avocado Smash is also pretty bad. This is about, it comes in a little avocado. That's the best part of the game. Other than that, speed, meh. Football Highlights 2052, trying to pick up on baseball highlights. So the game itself is okay. It's not that great of a game. It's okay. It's not as good as baseball highlights, in my opinion. But the graphic design is terrible. That's why it's still at a 5. Otrio, an abstract strategy game. This one it's fine. You're putting rings down, trying to put the same number of rings. I wonder if it's solvable, like tic-tac-toe. If I can see it, that might be problematic, but it has some nice pieces. 6 out of 10. Tiny Towns Villagers. This is the second expansion for Tiny Towns. There's some nice things they added, but the villagers themselves I didn't find to be that interesting. If you're going to get one expansion, get the first one. This one's just a 6 out of 10. Polar Party is a game for kids in which you're like crinkling paper up to make it look like polar mountains and moving around. It's for smaller children. It's okay. 6 out of 10 for kids. Splendor Marvel, the Splendor game nobody on Earth was asking for. It's Splendor. It's actually not as good as Splendor, just slightly less for some reasons. But if you like the theming, I mean, the original Splendor theming is boring. So I'd still give this one a 7. Nevada City. I think this one, if it looked a little nicer and was slightly more streamlined, would get an 8. It's still a 7 because, I mean, it's a cool Wild Wild West type theme, building up a town. There's almost too much going on in the game. But it's still good. It just could have been better. Rocio, this is a tile laying game from Pythagoras Games. I really like the stuff they put out. It's very, very themeless. I mean, they're building a tile thing. I guess it's not themeless, but it's very straightforward, and I enjoyed some of the aspects of this. Kingdom's Candy Monster, kind of a weird name there. This is 7 out of 10. This is just playing different monsters, collecting candy. It's back and forth, a family weight style game. But even better than that is Big Monster. And that's what I gave an 8 to, and I considered an 8.5. This is a kind of a tile drafting game where you're taking these tiles, and every tile does different things. You're putting them down, building out this layer in front of you, and some monsters get points if they're next to other monsters, and you connect the bigger monsters together. I really like this game. This company's one I have my eye on. Ether Fields. So this I have an 8.5 here, but I really considered making it a 9, and maybe it is. It's really close. Ether Fields, which I like, especially playing this one solo as you go through various dreams. There's a lot of back and forth. Really interesting stuff happens in this game. And then Whistle Mountain. Oh, 9 out of 10, I said. Still say this. I really love this game. Just played it again recently. A worker placement game, but you change the areas that you're placing stuff into. Just absolutely fantastic. All right, 5 years ago, I took a look at the Daedalus Sentence. This was a huge game from Eagle Gryphon. Big circles, escaping from a prison, cooperative game. Way too big, way overpriced for a small cooperative game that doesn't stand out at all. Pirate Lords from Hobby World, a little pirate card game, which just, it's extremely forgettable. Both of those are 5 out of 10. Castle Flutterstone, a 5 out of 10 for a kids game. I don't normally knock kids games too much, but this one you're catapulting bats and just too hard to do well. Fight for Olympus, a 2-player Mayfair game. It's okay. It's, again, kind of on the forgettable side. That's why it's a 6 out of 10. Myth, which is literally, I think it's supposed to be mice, but you can't say it right. Myth, 6.5. It's almost good. It's a pop-up book. You're playing cards to move along it. It's a cute idea for a game, but not one I want to play that often. It's okay. Allegiance, A Realm Divided. Now, this was a 7.5. I dropped it to a 7. This is a big, grandiose game that feels like a collectible card game. Each person that you play in this is very different. But you know, I haven't thought of it since, well, 5 years ago. I remembered it when I looked at it. I was like, wow, I remember thinking this game was really cool. All kinds of neat ideas in it. But so many other games kind of do it a little bit better. But it's still good. It just, I don't know. Maybe if they do a rebooted version of this someday. Castles of Burgundy dice game. I dropped this one down from an 8 to a 7. I think this replaces Castles of Burgundy in some ways. I know. Everyone loves Castles of Burgundy. It is a fantastic game for sure. But the card game just feels a little smoother and faster. Both of them are a 7 for me. Harry Potter's Hogwarts Battle, this deck building game. Now this one went down and then back up again. I probably dropped it to a 6 since I reviewed it. And then I played it last year and I was like, man, I still really like this game. Now I like the Toy Story version better, but I still think this is a good one as it goes through all the books in Harry Potter. Super Vampire. This is a kid's game where you're trying to move a vampire on top a bunch of planks without falling over and avoiding garlic. It's pretty fun. Golden Sails is another card game from Hobby World, but unlike the Pirates one, this one's still fairly abstract, but it just worked out better. And it's a nice little card game. Winner's Circle. I'm actually increasing this from a 7 to a 7.5 because this game, which is a remake of Royal Turf, a horse racing game, it's so easy to play. Pick your horses, roll a die, pick a horse to move, and see what happens. It's really a lot of fun. And then Heroes of Cascaria. This is a hobby game for kids. It's very obviously based on Harry Potter, where these wizarding people are having a race, riding different beasts. Some cool ideas. Works really well for kids. 7.5. And then I have, from 10 years ago, just a few games, HIBERNIA. This is a very boring little game. It looks like Risk, style game, but really small, really very uninteresting. Bloodsuckers. This one I dropped from a 6 to a 5. This is from the folks who made Castle Panic. This game it's a very mediocre game, but the art to me just hasn't aged well at all, which is why I dropped it. Illusion, I played this with my kids. They enjoyed it. It's now done in a new version called KABUKI, which is, I rate this one a 6, but for kids. It's a quick match things that look similar. Eaten by Zombies is another 6. This is a deck building game, which back in the day I was much more interested in because 10 years ago there wasn't nearly as many deck building games as there is now. And Eminent Domain. This one's a 7.5, still is a 7.5. This is not quite a deck building game. It's closer to games like Glory to Rome. I know that some people said that some of the expansions make this one even better. I don't know that I've ever played any of the expansions for it, but I always thought it by itself, it was a fine game. As you take an action, other people can follow you with that action. Some really interesting ideas, so worth checking out. And those are the games that I reviewed 1, 5, and 10 years ago. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and this has been Look Back on the Dice Tower.